Hello, my name is Charlotte Wells. This is my signature assessment for EDOL 647 for the University of Cumberlands. My table of contents, so I have an agenda, I have personal vision statement, problem, pre-assessment data, articles, strategy selected, implementation one, implementation two, post-assessment data, reflection, and learning activity. My agenda, I don't work in a school. I work for Tutor by Teachers, where I teach virtually in schools, in public schools in several states, but I don't have a PLC. So I chose one of the classes that I teach, a fourth grade class, ELA class in Louisiana, to review. And my personal vision statement starts with respect, value, diversity, inclusion, creativity, engagement, excitement, and collaboration. I value each of my students' journeys. I want to see them succeed and realize their value in my classroom and in society. I want to celebrate their diversity by connecting to them and their families. I want to make them feel included and important. I want to promote their creativity in the classroom. I want to see them engaged and excited about learning. In order to do these things, I need to work with a team of concerned individuals with the same goals. Together, we will share concerns, thoughts, and ideas to help our students in most needed areas and will not stop until we make necessary changes. Tutor by Teachers definitely does all of these things, even though I don't have a PLC. I work with a group of certified teachers and individuals who are very concerned about students, especially students who have fallen behind due to COVID, or EL students, or students just who struggle. And so we have definitely made a difference in their learning. So, what is the problem? I teach virtually in a fourth grade class, public classroom in Louisiana. Based on the learning standards the schools and my company has given us to teach, I know that spelling is a concern. I've also noticed spelling errors in chats with students. I recently gave my students a spelling inventory, and one of their weaknesses is root words and suffixes. I recently taught them the suffixes ABLE and IBLE. They were really bored with the lesson, and I know that my students learn best when they're excited to learn. I also know that I needed to make the lessons short because I only teach 30 minutes at a time, 3 times a week. Part of the teaching needs to be reading comprehension and vocabulary. So I need to be able to teach many lessons in that time. These are the spelling inventories that I used. So I gave them 25 words with the spelling inventory and went back and tallied their tallied their how they spelled the words. And as you can see, bases or roots were ones that these students scored the most, I guess, that they struggled with the most. So of the three, if you look at the last column here, bases or roots, you can see that the boxes are not checked. This one had 0 out of 5 correct. This one had 2 out of 5. So spelling definitely is particularly root words, and suffixes are where my focus is. The article that I found to teach suffixes in a fun way, it's 7 fun ways to teach suffixes to second graders around the campfire. This is the website, the article I found. And even though mine are not second graders, they are on the third grade reading level. One of the strategies that I found from here, because I do online teaching, the WordWall game show quiz was one of the best ways that I saw on this article, and it's something that's really engaging, and I'll show you in a minute. So this is the strategy selected. I began looking for ways to engage my students. One is the online suffix wheel. The other is a game show that asks them the meaning of the suffix and also asks them what words mean that have different suffixes. I hope that these two methods will engage my students to learn these suffixes. And this is a picture of both of the games, and I'm going to show you both of the games here in just a minute. So implementation one, what I did with the first one is I went over the suffixes like I had before that I wanted them to learn. As you can see, this top slide is these are the suffixes that we used. And then I used both the word wheel and the game show. And I put the answers on my screen, like I'm going to show you here in a minute. And the students they answered the questions as I went through the game. So I'm just going to briefly show you what these look like. So this one is the game show. So as you can see, it has correct answers. It have a bonus that comes up, and it will and it just teaches them. There's a bonus rounds and everything. I'm going to go ahead and get into this one and show the bonus round, and it shuffles. And the students told me which one they wanted me to choose once it stopped shuffling. And of course, doesn't always work very well. And so that's the bonus round. And unfortunately, we lost points on that one. And then let me just show you the spin the wheel. And this is one that I created. So you're just going to hover and spin it. And answer the questions. And what happens is if the students will all log in together or log in individually, they can do this on their own instead of going through it with me. So it's something that you can give them to do. And then you can go back and check their scores later to see how they did and what they might need some help with. So it's a very good formative assessment to do. And it removes the suffixes in the words as each time it spins and it's answered. Let's do one more. And that's the way that works. So that's the implementation. And you're going to see implementation too. So again, this was the one I just went through. And the reason I created the second one is because I wanted the students to be able to sign in. And the first one wasn't one that I created. With the second one, they could sign in and spin the wheel on their own and I would be able to check their scores. That was my reason behind it. I also can control what they learn. One of the girls that didn't answer the first time through, she did put some answers in the chat. I had two girls that answered the first time around, and then the second time, those two girls answered again out loud. But I have two girls that didn't answer. And the second time, and they're girls who they're not very verbal at all. So I was encouraged that the girl at least try to put her answers in the chat, even though she didn't sign in, just to give every student the chance to answer. So I think this could take a little bit of work of getting them used to logging in and tracking their answers. Post-assessment data. So this is the data that what I would see if I did their answers, put their answers in as a class. Again, this was only our second time to use it. So I think once I explain it a little bit better and what I want them to do, I think it'll go a little smoother. So if all of them had signed in, of course, we would have seen their names and their individual scores, and also it would have shown us this which ones got the correct answers and which ones didn't, and that would show me in results by students, and that would have shown me which ones that those individual students would need to work on. So that was the advantage of doing the one, creating my own lesson versus just using one that they had, was that they would actually log in ideally, and I could do the post assessment data. So, reflection is I'm glad I found this activity. I think it's a good way to keep students engaged in learning, traditional learning. You can still use it as I did that from the beginning, where I taught the lesson first and then we went to the word wall. And so I think both doing the traditional learning, these are the words, these are what we need to know, combined with playing the game was a way to really get their interest. They were excited about doing it. We kept the lessons short. We focused on just four suffixes at a time and then four words with those suffixes. So we only had really 8 questions. You can make it shorter if you need to. It was a good mini lesson that can be used at the beginning of class before reading to strengthen the skills of my students. And then a learning activity. So let's try it. I share this strategy with my colleagues at Tutor by Teachers via Slack, which is how we communicate. We have several collaboration channels there. And so I posted the word wall in one of those collaboration channels and got several people that were interested in trying it out. So I think it's a good success, a good way. We always try to share ideas that work for us with our colleagues so that maybe they can find things, see if it will work for them as well. Because, like I said, we're all about having the kids learn and keeping them and engaged in learning. That's basically uh, what I think works, especially for teaching online classes or even in-person classes. You can still do these things. Most kids learn on, they have their computers. Everybody has a Chromebook or whatever these days. And so being able to do that in a classroom, I think is a great idea. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and thank you. I hope you enjoyed it.